Namaste dear students. Today we will see the second section of digestion and absorption. So in the last class we have discussed regarding the alimentary canal, so the complete alimentary canal. So in the alimentary canal we will see the transverse section of gut. If we take a transverse section, this is a transverse section, what are the structures which we can see? So in the transverse section of gut, it is mainly consisting of 4 layers. So 4 important layers. So this is very important and one of the very important question for the NEET. So 4 layers. So there is the outermost layer known as the serosa. So serosa is the outermost layer. So this is the first layer, serosa. Always all the body organs are mainly covered by a outermost layer, that is the epithelial tissue layer. It is mainly a epithelial tissue layer, so that is serosa. Next 2 layers are known to be muscularis. There are 2 types of muscles, outer longitudinal muscles and inner circular muscles. So though the diagram looks outer circular, inner longitudinal, but we are taking a transverse section. When you take a transverse section of this tube-like structure, so it looks like this. Okay, outer longitudinal, inner circular muscles. So it is mainly made up of a smooth muscle. It is a smooth muscle layer. Next is a submucosa layer. Next layer is a submucosa layer. This layer is mainly consisting of blood vessels, lymph, gland, everything. So all these are mainly, it is a glandular layer, that is submucosa. And the innermost layer is a mucosa. Mucosa is the innermost layer. It is the innermost layer. So mucosa mainly consisting of mucus secreting cells. Mucus secreting cells are nothing but goblet cells. Okay, which mainly secretes the mucus that is meant for the lubrication process. It mainly secretes the mucus, and the opening and the inner cavity is the lumen. Lumen is known to be the inner cavity, that is not considered under the 4 layers. 4 main layers are serosa, muscularis, submucosa as well as mucosa. So this is regarding to the transverse section of gut. Next we will move on to the digestive gland. So alimentary canal is finished. So next we will move on to the digestive gland. So in the digestive gland, mainly starting from a salivary gland. We will start from a salivary gland. All these are considered to be the salivary gland. So the salivary gland mainly 3 pairs. There are 3 pairs of salivary gland which is mainly secreting the saliva. Okay, consists of parotid gland which is in the cheeks, submaxillary or submandibular glands which is in the lower jaw, as well as the sublingual gland that is in the below tongue. That will be below tongue. So there are 3 pairs of salivary glands: parotid, submaxillary or submandibular, as well as the sublingual. So these 3 glands secreting saliva. What is the composition of saliva? Saliva mainly consists of 2 secretions. One is a mucus, one will be the mucus, and one is a sebum. Mucus as well as the sebum layer. Mucus mainly a mucus. So for the lubrication purpose, okay, without the saliva we cannot speak. For the lubrication purpose, mainly presence of mucus. Serous, it is a fluid. It is also consisting of water and some of the bicarbonates, sodium chloride. All these are mainly present in the saliva. Okay, one of the very important enzyme which is present in our saliva is the salivary amylase. Important enzyme found in saliva is the salivary amylase, which is also known as thalin. Salivary amylase is also called thalin. So next, regarding to the pH, it is slightly acidic, 6.3 to 6.8, and there are about 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva will be secreted per day. That is a total secretion. Next, what is the action of salivary particular enzymes? One of the very important enzyme is salivary amylase, that is mainly involved in a carbohydrate digestion. In our mouth, if you are eating carbohydrate, only carbohydrate digestion will take place. If you are consuming a protein digestion will not take place in the mouth. That will take place in the stomach. So here starch, if you have consumed the starch, in mouth you will do a mastication process. That's why people tell that you have to chew a lot. Whatever the food you are consuming, you have to chew a lot. That should thoroughly mix with the saliva. So it is mainly consisting of taurine, which is also known as a salivary amylase, which is converted into a maltose. What is this maltose? So in the biomolecules you have studied, there are mainly different kinds of carbohydrates. You have monosaccharides, disaccharides, polysaccharides. Very important disaccharide is maltase, sucrase as well as the maltose, sucrose and the lactose. Those three are the important disaccharides. Okay. So here what happens? Maltose is a disaccharide. In mouth, starch is converted into a maltose. There is a one more substance called lysozyme. What is this lysozyme? Lysozyme is an antibacterial agent. It is one of the very important antibacterial agent. Whatever the food, whatever the food we are consuming, that doesn't mean that we are not consuming any microbes with that. Always, see, microbes, they are found everywhere. Even the whatever the food we are consuming, that is also consisting of some of the microbes. So in that food, if certain bacteria are there, these lysozymes will kill it. Okay, lysozyme, which is an important antibacterial agent, so that mainly kills the particular these bacteria. So that is regarding salivary gland. Okay, so next we will see the next gland, that is a gastric gland. So in the gastric gland there is a secretion of a gastric juice, where the gastric glands, the wall of the stomach, mainly consisting of three types of cells. There are three types of cells. A first type of cell is called chief cell. Okay, chief cell, which is also known as a peptic cell, secretes an enzyme known as a pepsinogen. As you know that there is an inactive form of enzyme. Inactive form of enzymes are called zymogens, where pepsinogen is also an inactive form. Its active form is a pepsin. Okay. So then we have a parietal cells or oxyntic cells. So parietal cells or oxyntic cells, we mainly have HCl, which mainly secretes the HCl. The acidic nature of the stomach is due to the secretion of HCl. As well as there is also secretion of certain intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factors such as meant for the absorption of vitamins. Here, this intrinsic factor is mainly meant for the absorption of vitamin B12. Okay, so that is the parietal cell or oxyntic cell. So then we have a mucus-necked cells. Mucus-neck cells, which are also known as goblet cells. So secretion is mucus. They mainly secrete the mucus. So these are the three important cells. So next here, the gastric juice component is mainly acidic due to the presence of HCl, as well as there is a secretion of enzymes. There are about 2 to 3 liters of gastric juice will be secreted per day, and its pH is very acidic, that is 1 to 3.5. What are the composition of gastric juice? Gastric juice mainly consisting of water, mucus, inorganic salts such as bicarbonates as well as some of these salts, and intrinsic factor HCl, renin as well as the pepsin. As you can see here, they are actually secreted in the inactive form. Pepsinogen as well as a prorenin. Okay, inactive form those will be secreted and that will be activated by the HCl. As well as we have a gastric lipase, their action is very little. Okay, gastric lipase action is very small. So here, mainly where in the stomach we don't have any carbohydrates. What do you mean by a carbohydrates? Carbohydrates means carbohydrate digesting enzymes. So in stomach we don't have any carbohydrates, so that's why there is no digestion of carbohydrate in the stomach. Okay, but we have a proteases. Proteases refers to protein digesting enzymes such as pepsin and renin. So these are the two important proteases. So how the action takes place? So here, proteins in the presence of pepsin converted into proteases, peptones as well as the polypeptides. Okay, so these are simpler forms of proteins. Peptones, polypeptides, they are simpler form of proteins. As you know that protein is nothing but a heteropolymer which is mainly mainly consisting of amino acids. There are different kinds of amino acids. They are joined by a peptide bond, forms a polypeptide. They will undergo coiling and forms the protein. So they will be simplified. Next, renin is one of the very important milk digesting enzyme. Renin is a milk digesting enzyme. So, milk mainly consists of protein as well as a carbohydrate. Which is a carbohydrate of a particular milk? Carbohydrate is nothing but a lactose. Lactose is a milk carbohydrate, and we have casein. Casein is a milk protein. So what happens is renin, which will act on casein and forms a para-casein. Okay, para-casein. Renin, which will act on casein and forms a para-casein. So there is a calcium. There will be a calcium which will act on this and forms a calcium para-caseinate. That will form a calcium para-caseinate. As you know that for the digestion of milk, we also require calcium. Calcium is very important. Okay, you might have seen various advertisements regarding this. Okay, so here what happens? Casein in the presence of renin is converted into para-casein, where this para-casein in the presence of calcium is converted into calcium para-caseinate, and on this calcium para-caseinate next pepsin will act, which will give the simplified form. Next, as I told, there is a secretion of pepsinogen as well as the prorenin. So that will be activated by the HCl, so which gives the pepsin as well as the renin. What is the function of HCl? Maintenance of acidic pH of the stomach. Acidic pH of the stomach is maintained by the HCl. Activation of the enzymes are done by the HCl. Inactivation of salivary amylase. Okay, whatever the food which is digested, carbohydrate which is digested from our mouth, that will enter into our stomach. If there is a presence of enzyme, that will be inactivated. Inactivation, and stomach is one of the bag-like structure where it is mainly a storage organ, where the food can be stored for about 4 to 5 hours. So, there is also presence of antibacterial properties in the HCl. They also act as antibacterial properties which will kill the bacteria. So, this is regarding to the gastric glands. Okay. So, next, liver as well as the pancreas. Liver is one of the largest exocrine gland, which is about 1.2 to 1.5 kgs. So, though that is not secreting any enzymes. So, in the structure of the liver, which is mainly consisting of lobes, okay, there is a presence of lobules, left to right, there are about 5, okay. So, lobes, and all these covered by a layer known as a Glissen's capsule, that is mainly covered by Glissen's capsule. Okay, and the cells of the liver are known as hepatic cells. There are hepatic cells, and these hepatic cells, all these hepatic cells are mainly secreting bile juice. Okay, bile juice mainly consists of bile pigments as well as the bile salts. There are 2 bile pigments, bilirubin as well as biliverdin, yellow pigment as well as the green pigment, and the bile salts. There are about 800 to 1000 ml of bile juice will be produced or secreted per day. Now here what happens is, these are also consisting of ducts. Liver and pancreas will be secreting bile juice as well as the pancreatic juice, but there is no digestion of food in those regions, because food will never enter into liver and pancreas. From stomach, food will enter into the intestine. Okay, so here all the secreted bile juice will be transferred through the hepatic duct, the duct of the liver, into the gallbladder. Okay, where there is a storage and concentration of bile juice takes place. The duct of the gallbladder is known as a cystic duct. Then what happens? Both the ducts will join. Hepatic duct and cystic duct will join and forms a common bile duct. So this common bile duct will join with the pancreatic duct, duct of the pancreas. Okay, so these cystic duct, hepatic duct join to form a common bile duct. That common bile duct will join with the pancreatic duct and forms a hepatopancreatic duct. This hepatopancreatic duct consisting of bile juice and pancreatic juice then enters into the duodenum of the small intestine. C-shaped structure, duodenum of the small intestine, which is guarded by a sphincter. This is a valve. Okay, which is guarded by a sphincter known as the sphincter of Oddi. Sphincter of Oddi, which will be guarding this particular secretion of pancreas as well as the liver. So that is regarding to the liver. Now, what is the function of liver? So as I told that there is no enzymes in the liver. It is mainly secreting bile juice. So these bile salts, it is mainly help in the emulsification of fat. See, liver is mainly meant for, one is the fat digestion, one more is meant for the removal of toxic substances. If we don't have liver, we are having only kidney, in the sense kidney will also not function. You might be knowing that if liver is not working, kidney will also stop working. Okay, because whatever the excretion process is there, that is mainly taking place in the liver. Whatever the toxic substances are there, see, we are producing our nitrogenous waste, mainly we are producing ammonia, that has to be converted into urea, because we can eliminate only urea through our urine. Okay, so that conversion of ammonia into urea, that is mainly taking place in the liver. So then it will enter into the kidney where there is a elimination of urea takes place. So here the emulsification of fat. What is emulsification of fat? Where the fat is broken down into a small droplets. Okay, fat in the presence of bile salts, that becomes emulsified fat. This emulsified fat consisting of bile salts. So these bile salts have to be removed. For this, we have an enzyme known as a colipase enzyme. Okay, colipase enzyme. In the presence of this colipase enzyme, emulsified fats will be freed from bile salts. Those will be freed from bile salts. Then, towards this, then there is the action of steatsin. Steatsin is a pancreatic lipase. Lipase is lipid digesting enzyme. It is a pancreatic lipase. So the fat in the presence of steatsin or a pancreatic lipase, which will be converted into fatty acid and glycerol. So fat digestion has taken place. Next, in the pancreas, it is known to be the heterocrine gland. What do you mean by a heterocrine gland? It is consisting of both exocrine as well as the endocrine glands. Glands are mainly divided into two types based on their secretions, exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine refers to the presence of ducts, in the presence of ducts. Endocrine, absence of ducts. So whatever the secretions of endocrine glands are there, they will be directly poured onto the blood. So here the exocrine part of the pancreas is the acini, mainly secreting enzymes, pancreatic enzymes. Endocrine part of the pancreas is the islets of Langerhans, which mainly secretes hormones such as insulin, glucagon, somatostatin, insulin and glucagon, regulation of blood sugar level. Okay, so that is regarding to the pancreas. Next we will see the functions of pancreatic enzymes. Okay, so next we will see the action of pancreatic juice. As I told, pancreas is a heterocrine gland consisting of both endocrine as well as the exocrine part. So in the pancreatic juice, there is secretion of around 1 to 1.5 liters per day, and its pH is alkaline, around 7.1 to 8.2. The composition of pancreatic juice mainly consisting of water, enzymes as well as the salts. So here the enzymes of pancreatic juice. So pancreatic juice consisting of pancreatic lipase known as steatsin involved in the lipid digestion, as well as there is a presence of 3 proteases. Proteases are nothing but protein digesting enzymes. Okay, so 3 proteases includes trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase. 3 proteases. Trypsin, chymotrypsin as well as the carboxypeptidase. Trypsin is secreted in the inactive form. Trypsinogen is the inactive form. For the activation of trypsin, we need a enterochromatin. enterokinase. Activation of trypsin is mainly done by a enterokinase. This enterokinase is secreted by the small intestine. Okay, trypsinogen activated by enterokinase into trypsin so that this trypsin acts on proteins, proteoses, peptones and give rise to the polypeptide, simpler form. Proteoses, peptones, that will be again simplified into the polypeptides. All the actions, trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, all the three enzymes will act on proteoses, peptones as well as proteins, and that will be converted into the polypeptides. So these three are the important protein digesting enzymes found in the pancreatic juice. Okay, so that is three important pancreatic juice consisting of protein digesting enzymes. So next we'll move on to the next, intestinal juice. As I told, though there is a pancreatic juice, bile juice, everything will be ultimately transferred to the intestine. So the process of digestion is mainly taking place in the intestine. All these actions are taking place in the intestine. So intestinal juice, there are about 1.5 to 2 liters per day will be secreted, and it is also alkaline, 7.6 to 8.3. So here intestinal juice, the mainly intestinal juice is known as Succus entericus. Succus entericus is one of the intestinal juice. Okay, so here intestinal juice consisting of proteoses as well as the carbohydrates and the lipases. So proteoses mainly includes, there is a aminopeptidase. Aminopeptidase is one of the very important proteoses. So this aminopeptidase converts, so these aminopeptidases converts oligo and dipeptides into the amino acids. Amino acids are the end products of protein digestion. So here the carboxypeptidase, it is an enzyme secreted by the pancreas which will convert polypeptide into oligo or dipeptides. So here we have, again we have in the intestine we have tripeptidases, dipeptidases. Tri and dipeptidases are also there that will ultimately convert into the amino acids. So these are regarding to the intestinal juice enzymes. So next, carbohydrates, carbohydrate digesting enzymes. So in the salivary amylase as well as the pancreatic amylase, both will convert polysaccharide into a disaccharide. So here mainly we have three disaccharides, that is maltose, sucrose as well as the lactose. In the intestinal juice, these will be converted into monosaccharides. So maltose, in the presence of an enzyme called maltase. Maltase is an enzyme which will give rise to glucose plus glucose, 2 molecules of glucose. Okay, whereas sucrose will convert into glucose plus fructose in the presence of an enzyme sucrase, which is also known as invertase. Sucrase is also called invertase. Whereas a lactose in the presence of lactase will be converted into glucose plus galactose. So that is the end product of carbohydrate digestion. Okay, so this is regarding to the intestinal juice. These are about all the digestive glands. So we have salivary gland, 3 pairs of salivary gland, parotid, submaxillary or submandibular as well as the sublingual. In the gastric gland we have 3 types of cells, chief cells or peptic cells secretes pepsinogen, parietal or oxygentic cells secretes HCl or intrinsic factor, mucous neck cells mainly secretes the mucus. Okay, all these about stomach. And in the case of liver, bile juice meant for the fat digestion, pancreatic juice having pancreatic lipase, pancreatic amylase, all meant for the carbohydrate digestion, lipid digestion, pancreatic proteosis, that is meant for the protein digestion, and the intestine is also having certain enzymes. So all these will complete the process of digestion. Okay, so next we'll see the chart which is of enzymes. All the enzymes are here. This is one of the very important topic for your competitive exams. So here mainly we'll see the salivary gland, 3 pairs salivary gland. Enzyme included here is salivary amylase, meant for the carbohydrate digestion. Lysozyme is the antibacterial agent. Okay, it is the antibacterial agent. In the gastric glands, it is mainly consisting of HCl, pepsin, meant for the protein digestion, renin, meant for the milk protein digestion, gastric lipase is meant for the lipid digestion, but its action is very less. Okay, so that is gastric lipase. Liver mainly secreting bile juice consisting of bile salt as well as the bile pigments. Okay, bile pigments are of two types: bilirubin, biliverdin, yellow pigment as well as green pigment. Bile salts are involved in the emulsification of fat. Then pancreas, which will be pancreatic juice consisting of pancreatic amylase, also known as amylopsin, meant for carbohydrate digestion. Pancreatic lipase is known as capsin, meant for lipid digestion. There is one more name for the salivary amylase, which is also known as taurine. Taurine is the other name for salivary amylase. Okay. Then we have proteases including trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase. Three proteases: trypsin, chymotrypsin as well as the carboxypeptidase. Then move on to the intestinal glands. So in the intestinal glands, it is mainly consisting of carbohydrates, proteases. Carbohydrates are of three types: maltase, lactase as well as sucrase, which is also known as invertase. Proteases are also as of three types: tripeptidase, dipeptidase as well as amylopeptidase, whereas enterokinase is an enzyme that is specially meant for the activation of trypsin. Trypsin is activated by the enterokinase. As the trypsin is activated, these chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase is activated by the trypsin. Okay, trypsin is activated by enterokinase, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase is activated by the trypsin, pepsin and renin are activated by the HCl, salivary amylase is inactivated by the HCl. So this is regarding to the complete enzymes.